Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw. First photo?
Yeah, sure, yes.
I haven't looked.
I haven't looked in like
Okay.
since I sent them. So
Well, I have them here and I'll show them.
go for it. Yeah. That first photo, yeah, that is a photo of me at an open mic reading, very early days, for at least me and my involvement in the poetry community in Hong Kong. That's at a club called Orange Peel that no longer exists, actually, where we were running Peel Street Poetry at the time. And yeah, I guess because I wanted to talk about poetry and my involvement in poetry here, and I do these kinds of things because I hope to drive more people to the poetry community.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That's kind of the main reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I figured we'd start there.
Great.
And I looked
so
through.
let me describe the image so people are listening.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you're in a club of sorts. You're nicely dressed. This must have been after.
Definitely was after looking at it. Yeah.
So you're standing at a mic. You're holding up a printout. You're gesturing with your right hand. Behind you is this. It's a really beautiful bar scene. Like you can just see a drum kit on the bottom. It's quite dark. Most of it is in shadow, but the spotlight's on you.
Real jazz club vibes.
Yeah.
It was a jazz club.
Yeah, so you're surrounded by musician paraphernalia. You can just sort of see people in the shadows, blurred. It's a fantastic photo. It's a great photo.
Yeah, it's a good photo.
It's looking very, very good. And look, we'll probably get into my overlap with spoken word poetry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course. But yeah, so
what is your overlap? Have we done it? I don't know if I know what your overlap.
We don't know
with
each
it
other,
is.
so we'll figure it out. Okay, but so why start with this photo? And you wanted to?
Yeah, I think it was the earliest one I could find of me at a poetry reading in Hong Kong that fit the resolution you were looking for. I think it might have been one of the earliest ones I could find at all, which is interesting because it's the third venue that Peel Street moved through while I was there.
Okay.
So Peel Street started 17 years ago, and I wasn't involved at this point, at a bar called Joyce Is Not Here. Mm-hmm. It was on Peel Street, hence Peel Street Poetry. And around, I'm going to say 10 or 11 years ago, a friend brought me along, and Joyce Is Not Here was a very small little hole-in-the-wall type venue. And they used to have a sign outside that said like sad hours for poets, and that was what they put up for this open mic thing that slowly developed. And, the first time I came in, I think there was like 6 people. That was a regular night for them back then. It was like 6 to 10.
Yeah.
And eventually Joyce Is Not Here closed, and we moved across the street to a place called Peel Fresco that I believe is still there.
Okay.
It's still a music place. And after being there for about a year, the MC at the time, a guy called Akin JJ, who I think you saw perform at my launch the other day.
Yeah.
He had his first kid, and he was like, I can't really MC anymore. And I think I was the person who was most regularly attending. So he asked me if I would MC. So I started MCing these poetry nights. And back then we didn't have Facebook, we didn't have anything going on. And we were still getting kind of 10 people on a very good night. So I got us into some of that, started growing, and Peel Fresco wanted to go more down the musical route, and they asked us if we could find another venue, and we found Orange Peel, which was in the middle of Lang Kwai Fung. But because it was called Orange Peel, even though we were leaving Peel Street, we kept the Peel Street name. Yeah. There was still like a Peel in the... I don't know what the logic was, but this is how we ended up stuck with Peel Street, even though 10 years later we've twice moved to different streets that are not Peel Street. We spent a good 2-3 years at Orange Peel. Beautiful venue, but there's, I don't actually know the details of the collapse, but there was something with like them not paying rent or something real sketchy was going on, and the whole place closes down. So this is from that. And then we moved to Social Room, which is that wonderful venue you saw the other day, where we've been for 6 years, maybe 5 years, something.
Oh, wow.
Social Room's been amazing. It's just been so great.
You're amazing. Because, I mean, like, you're doing this all these years. Like, that's some serious conviction, tenacity, dedication.
Yeah, I think it's, I mean, it wasn't hard. Like, I enjoyed it. It was like, and it's, you know, you go once a week. Oh, well, It's on every Wednesday except the first Wednesday of the month. So a little bit less than once a week on average.
Wow.
Which, yeah, is actually quite a lot for an open mic. But I don't know, it's one of those, I am an introvert in the kind of current sense where people are like, you need to recharge away, then you go spend your energy in social situations. But Peel Street has become so homely, or such part of my life, that it's like a place where I recharge, even though obviously it's very extroverted seeming to get on the mic and introduce people and talk about poetry. But no, I leave there like refreshed. So it's very easy. Whereas like I'll go to a normal party or networking thing or whatever Hong Kong does, and like I'll be exhausted after 2 hours of small talk. But yeah.
Okay, you're speaking about things that you're impassioned about. Okay, so the podcast is all about, how do we make sense of our lives? How do we make every second count? We know each other. I meet you, reach out, come out with this book. Quickly, what's the title of the book?
It's called Birth is the Coward's Way In.
Yes, the best title. I mean, so how did that title come to you? Or is it just the name of a poem?
So the way I write poems is I think of one-off lines randomly, and I put them in a Google Notes sheet I have, and they tend to be things like that are just taking a phrase and flipping some part of it, and I must have somewhere seen like the phrase "death is the coward's way out" or something, and just been like, how can I make this a little weirder? How can I make it apply to everyone?
Sure.
And that was it. And so I'd written it down somewhere. And the title I was previously throwing around for the book was Fetishizing the Mundane, which became one of the chapter titles, which is a line from my first book about how to write poetry. And at some point, I just wasn't in love with that title anymore, and I found this note, Birth is the Coward's Way In, and I was like, that's it, that's the one.
Is that the way we open the door to you reading one of your poems?
Could be. So what I was thinking was I would read the first poem I ever read going to an open mic. So, because I noticed one of the things you say about the podcast is, how can we make every second count? And that's a sentiment I hear a lot, but I don't know if I agree with.
Okay.
And I think I often poke fun at similar things. A lot of my poetry is satirical. And Hong Kong often likes its kind of either hustle culture, either every second counts, or in the wellness space, every second counts, or stuff like that I think is often ripe for satire. So this was about the idea of like trying to force happiness, or trying to find out a way to be happy, or trying to sell a product that makes you happy, and that sort of not being the path to happiness without having an answer for what the path is. So it's called Don't Move to Finland. If you want to be happy, think hard about meditating. If you want to be happy, eschew materialism with a minimalist decor in your condominium. If you want to be happy, chase the fuck out of happiness. If you want to be happy, make happiness your goal and scream, I will not be happy until I have happiness. If you want to be happy, be handsome and charismatic and sexually exceptional. If you want to be happy, be at the better end of bell curves that map happiness in your demographic. If you want to be happy, masturbate, or don't, whatever makes you happy. If you want to be happy, assume happiness and work backwards. I know you want to be happy, but stop hogging all the happiness. Don't move to Finland.
So is life really a gift? Really? Can you make every second count? That's the whole point of the podcast. So if you like what you've seen and you're inspired, because that really is my mission, then please give it a like, subscribe, and share.
Shooting it raw?
Yes, shooting it raw.